Hello and welcome once again to the video. In this one I thought I would do a video going by a suggestion that I had in a comment very recently, and that is to list my top 10 current drivers. Now, this is a good idea, but I'm not going to do it based on this year. I've already done that for all 20 drivers at the halfway point in the season, so I thought I would do it on how I rate those drivers looking at their whole careers. Now, some of them, of course, have only just started their careers. So I can't judge people like Oliver Bearman, for instance. I can't even think about judging him after just one race. But yeah, I've given it a go anyway. So we'll see how this. We'll see what you think of this, basically. So number one, and not much surprise here when you look at the entire career, but I'm going, of course, for Lewis Hamilton. Difficult to see how you could say anyone else, really. 7 World Championships, 105 Grand Prix wins now, I think. 104 pole positions, is it? Can't go with anyone else other than Lewis Hamilton, can you? Okay, so number 2. Again, fairly obvious. Max Verstappen. There are I suppose a couple of surprises in this list maybe, but not if you look at the entire career of the drivers. But yes, number 2, Max Verstappen, 3-time world champion. He's probably going to win the championship this year, I would say. Probably by about 30 points, I reckon. Remember that figure? I reckon that's what it will be at the end of the year, 30 points over Norris. But yes, he's my number 2. Looking at their entire careers, basically. If all of these drivers, if their careers were to end today, this is how I would judge their careers. Now, in third place, again, it's pretty obvious, but I'm going for Alonso. Double world champion. It sounds like I'm just going down in the number of championships, but it's not quite that simple. But yes, Fernando Alonso, double world champion. He was fantastic in it. Straight off the bat, he was fantastic in the Renault. Although his first year in Formula One was in Minardi, 2001. And then I think he did testing in 2002 for Renault before getting the race seat at Renault in 2003. And he won his first Grand Prix, I think. Was it Hungary or was it Malaysia? It was either Hungary or Malaysia, wasn't it? His first Grand Prix win. I can't remember which. Anyway, 2003. Fantastic he was. Supreme. But then he lost his way with a few bad team moves. Plus the atmosphere at McLaren in 2007 with Hamilton got a bit rough. Not with Hamilton, but with the team, basically. I think Alonso felt that the team was supporting Hamilton too much. Whether or not they were, I couldn't say. I doubt it. A professional team owner like Ron Dennis is not going to ignore his double world champion driver. So no, I think it was just that Hamilton was very good and Alonso was taken aback by how good Hamilton was. Okay, 4th place. Okay, not so obvious, but maybe it still is, I don't know. Leclerc. Possibly the fastest driver in Formula One at the moment. You could arguably say over a single lap. You could say he is the fastest. He was fantastic in the lower formula coming up, Formula 3 and Formula 2. He was fantastic. Just like Hamilton was, and other drivers as well. But he's done really well in just the last few races actually at Ferrari. There have been times when Sainz has sort of got on top of him a little bit, but by and large Leclerc has had the beating of Sainz. And I do believe that he is pretty much on a single lap the fastest at the moment in Formula One. Number 5, I've gone for, this might be a surprise, but Ricciardo, because I'm looking at the whole career, remember, and Ricciardo was fantastic in his Red Bull days. Verstappen was young. Verstappen was a teenager when he was Ricciardo's teammate, but Verstappen was still very good. He was a bit accident prone, Verstappen, but you couldn't separate them speed-wise, Verstappen and Ricciardo. But it does have to be said that Verstappen was very young and very new at the time. But Ricciardo, when he was with Vettel, he immediately took to beating Vettel regularly when they were at Red Bull. Defending 4-time world champion Vettel, maybe Vettel had gone off the boil a little bit by then. That's a possibility. Or he didn't. I think what it was, mainly actually, I suddenly remembered, is that the new car in 2014 Red Bull didn't suit Vettel very well, basically. The new regs Red Bull. And it suited Ricciardo better. So he sort of outdrove Ricciardo that year. I think he won 2 or 3 races, Ricciardo. Vettel didn't win any. Yeah, so that would be, because Vettel's championships were 10 to 2013. So yeah, it would have been 2014. But Ricciardo, back then, I classed him as being one of the top 4. It was Hamilton, Alonso, Vettel, Ricciardo. And I thought they were comfortably above everybody else. Even in Nico Rosberg's championship winning year, I would have still said that Ricciardo is better than Rosberg. Very good driver. He's just gone completely off the boil ever since he left Red Bull. He's sort of fallen apart a little bit. Just apart from the odd race every now and again when he really shows he still has the talent. Okay, so let's scrub that top 4 off. So Leclerc was the best non-champion, basically, that I had there. Okay. Back up here, make sure it's still in focus. And we're going to do number 6. Number 6 is going to be... Who's number 6 going to be? Oh, yes. Norris. Now, some people will definitely agree with that. Some people will definitely disagree. Some people would... I know from the comments I get that some people think Norris wouldn't even be in a top 10 at all, let alone 6th place. Other people might have him in number 1 or number 2. He divides opinion quite a bit. Super fast. After he's warmed up, as I always say, it takes him a few laps to warm up. But once he gets going, he's super fast. But is he strong enough mentally to take on the likes of Verstappen? That's the thing. But anyway, I have him at number 6 of the current drivers, looking at the entire career, that is. He would be higher looking at just this year, but I'm looking at the entire career. Russell. Similar to Norris, I would say, ability-wise. Russell just beat Norris to the F2 championship in 2018, wasn't it? Before they came to Formula One. Let me just get in focus. And I think Albon was 3rd in that championship as well. Right, 8th. But yeah, what more is there to say about Russell? Wins the odd race every now and again. He's shown his ability. He's been able to take on Hamilton, but Hamilton is in the twilight of his career. Certainly Ferrari will not be hoping that Hamilton is in the twilight of his career. But Russell, I don't know if would you say he's been outdriving Hamilton? It depends it's on a race by race basis. I think what it is Russell outdrives Hamilton in qualifying and Hamilton outdrives Russell in the race. by and large. But because Hamilton's having a terrible time with qualifying these days, he ends up too far back to properly challenge Russell. 8th place, I've got Piastri. Some would put him ahead of Norris, but for me, it's just down to the statistics, basically. Norris has beaten Piastri in more races than Piastri has beaten Norris. In qualifying, I think it's 13-3 to Norris in qualifying. You can't argue with that, can you? In my view, Piastri is not quite at the Norris standing, but of course that's just this year. And career-wise, he's only done 2 years, so it is difficult to judge. But this is the impossible job that I'm doing in this video. Judging people on careers that have not yet actually finished. 9th, I would put Sainz. Again, a lot of Sainz supporters wouldn't agree with that. And that's fair enough, of course. This is just my opinion. If I did this same video in a couple of weeks' time, it could be slightly different. I like to think it wouldn't be, but it could be. But yeah, Sainz, he came into Formula One. When did he come into Formula One? It's about... he was with Toro Rosso, wasn't he? Alongside Verstappen. He sort of replaced maybe Scott Speed, did he, at Toro Rosso? But he was very good alongside Verstappen, just as good as Verstappen in the Toro Rosso. On his day, he's very good. At the start of this year, he was very good. In the McLaren, he was very good. He had the beating of Norris in the McLaren, but that wasn't early in Norris's career, but he definitely had the beating of Norris. So yeah, he's in there. Now 10th, I couldn't decide between... I did decide in the end, but it was a toss-up between 5 different drivers. Hulkenberg, who has a long history of driving really well with no reward. Albon, who's been showing fantastic form in the Williams, but in the Red Bull he was not able to compete at all with Verstappen, but then again, who can? Gasly, who has 1 win to his name and is very good on his day, and Ocon, who has 1 win to his name and is very good on his day. But in the end, I went with results over, basically who's won the most. So I went with Bottas. Bottas, I think his best years were at Williams. He was very good. I remember him being on pole position. Was it 2013 at Silverstone? He was in pole position. Was it 2013 or was it 2014? Might have been 2014. But anyway, he was very good in the Williams. He shone in the Williams. He went to Mercedes and was beaten up so badly by Hamilton that it knocked the stuffing out of him. And I think he couldn't wait to get away from Mercedes in the end, even though it wasn't his choice. And now he struts around like Clint Eastwood, full of confidence, because all the pressure is off his shoulders. I think he's just basking in the glory of having won 10 races, is it, I think? And he knows that that's all he's ever going to do. But there's lots of drivers that win less than 10 races, so I think he's happy. But it does mean he's just treading water. So I do think that Sauber should get rid of Bottas and replace him with someone who's not just treading water at the end of their career. Perez, of course, was crushed by Verstappen, as was Albon and as was Gasly. And I think that's what happened here with Bottas at Mercedes with Hamilton as a teammate. But there you go. Anyway, that's my top 10 of current drivers looking at their whole careers, which is why Bottas is in the top 10 and why Ricciardo is up there in 5th and Norris is down in 6th. And Norris, Russell and Piastri would be higher than 6th, 7th and 8th if it was just judged on this year. Anyway, there you go. Difficult thing to do that, looking at their whole careers, but that's what I've done. Right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so. If you'd like to like the video, please do so. If you'd like to leave a tip at the thanks button underneath the video, please do so. And I'll see you on the very next video, whatever it may be about. Thank you, and goodbye for now.